And welcome to Coast to Coast with Calvin Roberts. Today, I'm joined by my co-host, Calvin Roberts.
There you go. How you doing, man? This is Calvin Roberts from Competitive 24. Just got the opportunity to come on you guys' podcast, and I'm blessed for that. Thank you, guys.
Appreciate it. Everybody else at work, but I'm just joking. Welcome to On the Side, part 3 from the Council and the Clutch. I'm running this one solo here. Got my boy Calvin Roberts here. Ironically, we got the same name. Wore the same jersey number at some point, which is funny. But
that's
all
true.
started on Facebook, man. Like I actually, I don't know if anybody else did this before. I don't know if I'm weird for doing this. I searched my own name on Facebook, and ironically, this dude popped up, 23 in Hawaii. I'm like, word. Yo, let me send him a request real quick.
That's crazy. I remember that too.
Yeah, and ever since then, we've been pretty much rocking since then. I've been trolling the Lakers ever since then too. So,
oh man,
always supporting contingent on Facebook with that. But we'll get to basketball a little later. But I know you a little bit. But you mind telling the people about yourself?
Yeah, so I'm coming out of the Bay Area. Played 3 sports in pretty much all my life since 7. Yeah, since 7. Played 3 sports all my life. Growing up in the Bay Area playing sports, it's a little bit different from playing other places in the country. I should say it's an experience because you're dealing with different cultures, different backgrounds, and you might get 1 year you move up to, let's just say, junior varsity, and you might have a lot of whites, and the next year you might have a lot of Asians, a lot of Latins. Sometimes it's less blacks. So growing up in the Bay Area, especially where I grew up on the peninsula side, it's basically dominated by other races besides blacks. And so for me, I was playing sports against the whites, blacks, a couple blacks, Latins, and pretty much Islanders and things like that. That was pretty much it. And so until I moved into obviously college, where mostly the dominant race is especially football was black. And so growing up, I'm the big brother of 3. Played sports pretty much every day. You go out in the backyard, you play some strikeout, you play horse. We had a basketball court in the backyard. We had it all as a kid. And so my cousins would come over, and friends as well. And we would have competition until like 8:00 at night, until it's getting dark. So I was always, as a kid, competitive. And that's some of the reason why I even named the show Competitive 24. And some people think it's about, oh, you love Kobe so much, you got to name it Competitive 24.
I thought that
It wasn't.
I was going to ask you about that.
It really wasn't. And I was trying to explain to one of my boys, like, I was like, man, I'll say, listen, I'm gonna break it down to you. Competitive is in my nature. I'm just a competitive dude. I might come off as super calm, nice, respectful, but I'm competitive, and that's one of my my favorite words to even use. Competitive, stay competitive. And 24 comes from the jersey that was my first number I wore playing organized sports in school. So I started playing basketball in 7th grade. That was my first, middle school is your first time playing with your school. So 24 was just given to me, and they just gave me the number 24. So I always remember it. I always say I wore 24 before Kobe. So
I was just going to say that. So this is all before Kobe.
All before Kobe.
I honestly thought it was like, because as I said, I always troll you about the Lakers. I troll Lakers fan about the Lakers anyway. But I always thought it was like a legit Kobe thing. I'm like, oh, he really does love Kobe, man. Like,
yeah, I do love Kobe, and Kobe is he's been like an influence, and he's been somebody that I can look up to. And if I'm down, if I have like a moment that I'm feeling down, and if I go look at either a highlight, it's going to TV, and you see what Kobe's doing. He's he dropped 45, and He did it when he was, on the road down by 10 with 4 minutes to go. It's things like that that made me look, made me realize like, dude, this dude like has been grinding all of his life to get to this moment. And
Yeah.
when he got the opportunity, he went ahead and cashed in, and he obviously had 5 championships. But Kobe was, my dad passed away in 2005, and
Sorry to hear that.
yeah, he would, he always respected Kobe, but he never liked it him because my dad was more of a Golden State, Sacramento Kings guy. So he would,
Kings
especially back in
fan.
the early 2000s, they had all those good games, all the good playoff series they had. And so he would always go back and forth about, how Kobe and Shaq are cheating and they shouldn't be playing
Hmm.
together. And we would go back and forth until, the last conversation I ever had with my dad was about Kobe, and it stuck
Mm.
for me forever, and I will never forget it because it was just the same as, how we always had. He was making fun of me, like Kobe this, Kobe that, and he was saying that how Kobe will end up one of the greatest players back in 2005, right before he passed away, and we were talking
Mm.
about that, and that was the last conversation I ever had with my father. So it goes pretty deep, yeah.
Yeah, Kobe's a staple in your life. So
Definitely. He
kind of
will always be remembered for sure. For
yeah,
sure,
and
for
kind of
sure.
like your pops was talking. Obviously I'm a Kings fan, but that
Mhm.
I watched that 01 Western Conference Finals probably like twice a year just to make myself mad. I don't know why, I just do it.
Just going
Knowing
back.
what Tim Donaghy, yeah, knowing what Tim Donaghy said and all that, I'm like, man, but we really should have had one, and it would have been crazy
It's
for
cra
me.
right? It would have been really crazy if the Kings actually got past the Lakers. What could have happened to that rivalry? And I also think if the Kings would have won one of those series, I think Kobe and Shaq stay together a little bit longer. And I don't think
just to
Gary
just to
Payton
knock us
and Karl
off.
Malone go on the Lakers. I don't think. I think Kobe and Shaq find a way to get it done. Maybe they end up with 4, maybe end up with 5, but I think the King series was a crucial point of them, staying together and eventually breaking up.
Yeah, and for me, I'm looking at it at the other side too. Obviously, I'm from Virginia, same
Mhm.
place as AI,
Yeah.
same city,
Yeah.
and it's kind of like that year would have been my favorite team versus my favorite player.
Yeah.
And as a kid, it's kind of like I got two teams.
Yep.
I was never
Exactly.
that kid where I said I had two teams, but I always said, "Oh, I like the Kings and I like whoever. I like Iverson." I never
Yeah.
said I like the Sixers. So
Ex
for me, that would have definitely been like a one of those things that I would have definitely talked about.
Mhm.
As an adult, like yeah, I remember AI played the Kings. Win or loss, I would have been fine with the result because
Yeah.
AI is kind of like the
That's
Charles Barkley kind of like got
that's
all
your
the
guy.
accolades but no rings. Yeah,
That's your
and
guy.
it's like
Yeah. I
yeah,
feel it, man. Hell of a player. Hell of a
yeah,
player.
definitely.
And for him not to win a ring, I always tease my brother about it because my brother's favorite player is Allen Iverson. And, I
Mhm.
just think about Allen Iverson. I did a podcast on, it's called The Little Guys. And I rank Allen Iverson number one for the best 6 foot player to ever, 6 foot player and under to ever, lace him up. This dude was
Yeah,
bad. The dude was unbelievable, and I think that he's a first ballot, Hall of Famer. Should have won the ring, dynamic scorer, and it was really nobody like him. People trying to imitate him, and if you're small, you were, your headband, the cornrows, trying to do a
man.
crossover. It was nobody like AI.
Man,
Nobody like AI. He's one of a kind. That's why I always respect that dude, man. He's a bulldog. He's just a warrior.
and this is what got me. When you knew he was a staple,
Hmm.
people thought he was wearing the arm sleeve for like fashion reasons.
Yeah.
Like he actually had a flared up elbow, and the
See, I never
manager of
knew
the
that.
team created it.
I
Yeah,
never
like
knew that.
he actually had an elbow problem. Like it used to flare up during games.
Okay.
So somebody on the training staff actually came up with the idea to just make the sleeve for him so he can keep it get pressed. So
So that's how it started.
everybody else just started doing it,
Mhm.
just because they thought it was cool. So it's like that man was a trendsetter.
He was.
But
Yeah,
it's crazy
cornrows
how
and
that impact
everything.
cornrows, tattoos.
Yep.
Now it's like they put that dress code in because this man's wearing jerseys. Now they kind of took the dress code away, and now they're just coming in here looking like aunties
Westbrook.
from the
You
'90s.
look
Yeah,
like Westbrook,
Westbrook,
and
man.
it's
Yeah,
I love
Westbrook
Westbrook,
dresses.
man. He comes to games just I don't know what he's gonna wear. I mean, you can probably put a bet line of Russell Westbrook might wear the next game, and you can probably get some good money on like if he's gonna wear this, he's gonna wear this, he's gonna be sleeveless, he's gonna be shorts, one pant leg
Exactly.
up, one pant leg down. I mean,
Crop top.
yeah, you never know. You never really know.
Photography vest. Like you don't know what he's gonna get.
It's crazy. I couldn't wear some of the stuff he wears. I wouldn't go out the house looking like that. That's
I
just
wouldn't
me.
even go in a store that sells half the stuff you wear.
Nothing, man. No
I wouldn't
way.
feel comfortable in that type of store. But
I feel
so
it.
let's kind of move along a little bit here. We're gonna talk about your college experience. So
Yeah.
we're both college athletes, but we played on different levels. So
Mhm.
want to kind of get into your journey, to where you got, kind of how you got there, and kind of your experience overall.
Definitely, man. So back in high school, I was getting recruited, but I was only getting recruited by certain schools, and I remember I had a full scholarship, basically going to St. Mary's University. It's actually right. It's about maybe 15 minutes from where I'm living right now in the East
Mhm.
Bay of the Bay Area. So I got a full scholarship going there. They were offering me, and they told me to come out and play. I mean, to come out and check them out. So me and my family go out there and basically like a little recruiting type of business trip. And so we go out there, I see a quarterback. He's pretty much just like me. So they recruit me for quarterback. So I'm a quarterback in high school. And I just played defensive back, because I was actually pretty good at it. So they put me on the
Mhm.
defensive side of the ball, but my main position was QB. So when they were recruiting me to play quarterback at that college. And so when we went there, and we saw the guy playing. I think he was a junior, so he had one more year after that. So that's why they were preparing to basically somebody to take over his position. And he was good. He was pretty much the same size, 5'11", 6 feet, ran around, scrambled, threw a good ball. And I thought he was good, but he was also missing some things. And so I talked to the coaching staff, introduced me to, certain people around the campus. Long story short, it was about 3 or 4 months later, the football team cancels. The football program cancels. So
Mm.
I'm pissed. And that was pretty much my only offer that I had in high school. I had a lot of letters, we like you and we want you to play here at University of Washington, but I never heard from them. And so the only team I heard was from St. Mary's University. And so when that football team canceled, I was I was down, man. I didn't know what to do. I was getting advice from multiple people, and I was listening to my dad mostly. He was saying that I should go to San Francisco City College. It's one of the most recognized, city colleges, especially for football in the United States. So we go up there, take a visit. I end up, go ahead and went to San Francisco University. It was I wouldn't say drama. It was just it didn't work out for me. They had me play DB. I was thinking about going for quarterback. They said, no, we'll probably want you to go play corner. So I go play corner. Wasn't working out. Long story short, I had an opportunity to be on a scout team for offense. So I said, just give me the rock. I'll go over here and play some offense. This is what I'm used to. So I was playing running back for a scout, and I was actually basically killing out there. And this is versus a great defense. And so they're saying, won't you just come, play running back? So I was playing running back now. I was basically a backup to the other guy. Other guy in front of me, his name was Dallas, and he was solid. He was a solid running back,
Mhm.
but I never really got no PT. I was always over playing, little special teams here, special teams there, but I never got no, really, PT. I was only in practice. I'm over here, in practice, running the ball and doing my shakes and, stiff arms. I'm doing all this energy, but I'm not getting to the game. And so I was pissed. And so I told my dad, man, screw this, man. I'm just gonna play baseball. And he was shocked. Just baseball? You're not gonna play two sports? Because I'm a three-sport athlete, but I knew I wasn't playing basketball going after high school. So I wanted to go ahead and play
Mhm.
two sports. The two sports was basketball. I mean, the two sports was baseball and football. And so I wanted this to play baseball at the time. So we go up to the Skyline College now, and my dad's with me. We're talking to the coach, and first day of practice, we're practicing. A couple weeks go by. It's going pretty good. They have me, hitting in the lineup. We're doing little scrimmages, and April 18th, I'll never forget it. My dad passes away, and so
Mm.
that right there pretty much changed everything. And for me to go ahead and continue to play baseball, it was really tough. I didn't. I felt it was something missing, obviously, and I was empty, and I didn't love it like I should love it, and everything was concentrated on my dad passing. And before my dad passing, it was just a crazy year. My daughter was born, and my daughter was born in February, and my dad passed away in April. So with those months all in combined, I'm still on the baseball team, and I'm just confused. I'm hurt. I'm thinking about if I'm have enough money for my daughter, if who's gonna help me out. My dad was my best friend. I talked to him about everything, and for me, just to lose him like that, just to, lose him, with my daughter coming into the world, it was just crazy, man. And I didn't really know what to do. I didn't know who to talk to. So I was in a dark place. I was in a very dark place. And I know athletes out there, they're thinking like, oh, he made it. He had it easier than me. I probably didn't. I mean, we all have it hard, and we all have issues. We all have, our problems. But what I had to go through was deep, man. It was really
Mhm.
deep. And I was, drinking, I was smoking. I know I was just confused. And so I told my baseball coach, I'm not sure I'll be back. If I do be back, it's gonna be in a couple weeks. Those couple weeks went by. I didn't show up. I was just I was in a confused place, and I don't know, you know, where or who I was. I was just lost. And so moving forward with that, the summertime, I decided not just to play baseball. So I said screw baseball. I'm not sure if I want to play a sport no more. And I was looking online and I saw a picture. I'll never forget it. I saw a picture of it was a DB that I seen playing. So City College and San Mateo are rivals. So those are the big
Mhm.
rivals here in the Bay Area. I went to City College, and this guy that I saw on the screen, his name was Evan Roman. So Evan Roman is
Mhm.
still one of my good friends. That's my brother to heart. I saw him on the screen, and he's wearing number 23. I thought, man, this dude is doing it, man. He looks good in that blue. I never thought about going to college of San Mateo, but I'm gonna go check them out. So I go down there and say, "You guys have a spot?" I mean, I'm still trying to play, and they were telling me they went through my transcripts and they're telling me that I would have to sit out a year in order to play down there. So I'm basically losing my red shirt, and that was crucial because I wanted to keep my red shirt going forward whenever I went to the university if I decided to. And so
Yeah.
the red shirt, they said I had the red shirt. So I said, you know what? I don't care. I'm staying here. I'm not going back to city. I'm not going back to San Francisco City College. I want to stay down here. And so my red shirt year happens and nobody knows me. And I just come in. I've come in with red cleats and the whole this is it's a blue school. So everybody looking like, what the hell? You have red cleats and red and white cleats on. And I go out there and I'm just getting used to it. And I remember my coach, Coach T, and shout out to Coach T, man. He put me out. He started me on a scrimmage game. He told me to go ahead and start. And I was pumped, man. I remember I missed my first tackle. I was so pumped up. I missed my first tackle. I don't know what the hell I was doing. I was so pumped up. And so the second time happens as a running back. He was about maybe 200 pounds coming at me. He was trying to blow me up. So what I usually do, I like to cut. So I cut his knees out. This dude, he did a
I hate
flip.
guys like
Oh
you.
yeah, dude did a flip. Everybody started going crazy, and you can see it. And after the game, you can see it on we always watch video, obviously, and you can see on the video me
Yeah.
just cutting the hell out of him. He's doing a flip and everything, and all of a sudden it was just like, okay, this dude can play. This dude is bad, and so I wasn't able to play in the games. I was just able to play in practice, and so I was out there talking crap to who Julian Edelman every single day. He couldn't throw on me. He couldn't run on me because you're the quarterback. We can't touch you. So me and him,
Yeah.
we go back and forth all day. So Julian, love you, man. Right on for the great memories out there. And you guys know the story about Julian Edelman going on the Kent State in the Patriots, his career with Tom Brady. And
Yeah.
he was a good quarterback, but he knew he cannot throw on my side because obviously I know some of the plays that you're going to run. So I mean, you got what, maybe 20 routes in the whole route tree that you guys can run. I know most of them. I know a lot of the receivers. So I was getting into everybody, every single practices. And, the coaching staff loved it. The players loved it. My energy, I was always upbeat. And I fell in love again with the sport of football. And I keep, emphasizing that to some of the, people that listen. And, you have to love what you're doing. You have to have a passion for what you're doing. And for me to get back to that level it was a blessing. It was unbelievable. I never thought I would get back to that level of loving football, loving the sport, just like just like that. And, going forward, my sophomore year, I come in with lots of letters, lots of, offers and lots of, you should visit this school, come visit us, come visit us. It was letters literally coming in every single practice almost. We practiced 4 days a week over the off season. Those letters coming in every day, man. It was just, you had Washington State, Oregon State, all the, the Pac-12 or the Pac-10. It was back then the
Mhm.
Pac-10. And it was just everybody coming in. And I didn't play a single snap. Just think about that. I didn't play a single snap. I was basically they sent out the pre All American. I was number 9. I was a number 9 cornerback in the nation, and I didn't play a single snap. And I give all of that.
That's
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 crazy.
what film. That's film.
That's a lot of film. And my coaching staff sent the film out, and they liked me. And so, going to the season, it was going into the season, I started out good. I remember I had about 2 picks in about 4 games, just playing solid. Then all of a sudden, I had a knee injury, and so I partially tore my MCL. It was a grade 2 tear, and I'll never forget it because I was crying. I thought my season was over. They said you can bounce back. It's not completely torn, but you're going to feel it for
Mhm.
sure. You're not going to be pretty much the same player this year, but you can come back from this. And I remember doing all the therapy, all the, stem and ice, all the things you have to do to get back on the field. And I returned in, I think it was about 3 weeks. I missed 2 games. We had a bye week. I come back and I'm not really the same. I feel good. The adrenaline's kicking in. I'm feeling good. I'm not really the same. I end up getting, I think I ended on the year I got 3 picks. It's like 3 or 4 picks that year. And I remember some of the colleges start disappearing, like all of a sudden disappearing colleges. I knew I wasn't so for junior college, you have to be how should I say this? A mid-year transfer. You have to be, transferring in about December. You want to be graduating in December. If you're not going to be graduating in December, you want to be graduating in May. And so I was trying to
Mhm.
graduate in December, couldn't do it. And so some colleges backed off. So, 2007 comes around, spring ball, trying to graduate. And by May, couldn't do it. So I'm over here struggling in school. I'm just thinking like, damn, I have the perfect opportunity right here, but I'm still struggling in the classroom trying to get, my grades. I'm trying to get my transfer ability to go ahead and transfer out. And so I go on 5 recruiting trips. I keep it short. 5 recruiting trips. The one I definitely remember is obviously Hawaii. So I go into Hawaii. I get there and I notice some of the players kind of, kind of blow me off. He don't, who's he? It doesn't really matter. And those are some of the top players. I'm thinking in my head, like, damn,
Yeah.
okay. As if it's like
This was when they were like
and
they were on TV like every
they were
weekend
bad. Yeah, this team was
around that
that's the
time.
reason that's some of the reason
Yeah.
why I wanted to go there. So my whole plan was to go to a university that I had an opportunity to shine. I wanted to shine on the big stage. I wanted to shine on TV. I wanted people to go ahead and see me on that stage. And that's some of the reason why I chose that school over I had a full scholarship going to I think it was what college was it? Western Illinois. So Western Illinois recruited me they were recruiting me hard.
Mhm.
That was the same college of, I think did Jimmy, yeah, Jimmy G went there. Um, who else went there? Roma went there. It was a couple guys that went there. So they recruited me tough. They wanted me to go there. I liked the campus. It was about, I think, a couple hours from Chicago. It was cool. I never been out
Mhm.
there. I liked it. And so I chose Hawaii over them because of the stage of the D1 football playing on a stage. And I knew the first game of the 2008 season was going to be against Tim Tebow and the Gators. So I was pumped. And I look at
Mhm.
schedules. I look at if they had the next year's schedule, I'm looking at rosters. I'm looking at who's graduating, who's coming in, who's the bad guys on the team. And so the only person I seen as a threat going to Hawaii, and I knew about him before, was Ryan Mouton. And this dude was bad. And I seen his highlight tapes, and I remember we were looking at his highlight tapes, me and my boy Evan, and we were both corners at San Mateo Junior College, and we're looking at his tape like, damn, this dude is bad. He's going to Hawaii. He should be probably going somewhere like in the SEC. I mean, this dude is bad.
Mhm.
And I remember his speed that he had when he got the ball, and obviously when he was, pursuing the ball, it was bar none, probably the fastest guy I've seen on defense. And this dude was going to Hawaii. So it's basically me and him coming in. And so I remember getting there, the some of the coaching staff was telling me that he's not going to make it. His grades are poor. We really need you, Calvin. We really need a corner that can come in and go ahead and start for us, and this and that. I'm thinking, okay, cool. I'm gonna come in and I'm gonna do my thing, and I'm gonna have a chance to start. My junior year. So I go into camp about maybe 3 days in. They already started their camp. I go into camp 3 days in, and I remember I was pretty much bulking up for that, and I was like I think I was like 204. I was like 204 playing corner. It's pretty big, and I was I remember I was a little too big because I felt a little heavy, but I felt
Mhm.
strong as hell, but I felt a little heavy, and so I was out there. We were practicing, and I had fresh legs. Everybody was dragging along. It was a double day. Everybody's dragging along, and it was it was interesting because I remember it was a couple plays that I had, and I was doing good. I was, trying to lock up the receiver, but the coach pulled me to the side and say, "No, we don't do that. We don't do a thing. We don't do how a corner lines up from a wide receiver, how they have their feet
Mhm.
about shoulder width apart, maybe a little bit longer, a little bit wider, I should say, and you pay bump and run. They didn't want me to do that. And so I'm thinking like, wait a minute, man, this is what I do. Like I usually get into the receiver's face and I like to bump and run. They said, no, we want you to stagger a little bit. Won't you have, and so if I'm playing right corner and they would have my left leg go back and my right leg go forward, and I'm right next to the receiver, I'm basically bump and run with a staggered, position. I was like, what the hell? I never did this before.
So did you have a lot of safety? That's a question. Did you have a lot of safety help and
It
linebacker help
was
at that
it
point,
was safety
or
help. So we ran a lot. It was
okay?
yeah, it was a 4-3 defense. It was safety help, but at the same time, if we had to go either 1-on-1 or if we had to, play a cover 2, a cover 3, they wanted me to go up there and motor. It's called motor. So I was like, hell, I never did this before. So I remember we had a scrimmage at the Aloha Stadium, and I was guarding a guy named CJ. CJ's fast. He's a legit, four high, maybe 4'3", 4'4" guy. He was fast. They said, we want you to see, we want you to, and we want to see you go up there and motor against these guys. This is how you get playing time. So I'm going, okay, I got to do what I got to do. So I go up there and I'm face to face with the guy. I'm motoring and dude beats me, man. He just beats me. I'm pissed off. I'm not sure what to think, and I'm just like, damn. If they're gonna have me play like this, how can I even play? So long story short, they don't
Mhm.
take me. They don't take me on the first trip. And the first trip they played, I think it was La Tech. They played Louisiana Tech. And I think it was down there. They didn't take me, so I got left behind, and that changed everything because I'm pissed. I'm coming from California, leaving my daughter, and I'm out here not even traveling with the team. Whew. Oh man, I
Yeah,
can't
if
I can't say
anybody
some of the stuff
knows
that I want to say, but I was outraged, man. I couldn't. I'm sweating right now and just going back and thinking about that, man. Shit.
yeah, if anybody knows about college, like I've had a couple times where I'm looking at, get the travel list. I'm looking at it. I didn't see my name. Like, hold on. But they used to put the list out, I think, like Wednesday or
Yeah.
something. But they always changed it. So I don't know if that was like a thing that they just used to do just to kind of say like, hey, you need to step it
Mm-hmm.
up. But I it was a couple times my senior year I didn't see my name. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
well, what am I doing this weekend?
Oh man.
I'm a little upset. I'm
Oh,
like, what am I doing this weekend? And then,
man.
by Friday comes, okay, all right, I'm back on the list. But what's going on? Like during the whole
You're
week,
frustrated.
they don't take you
Yeah.
off of any. Yeah, they don't take you off anything. Like you're still starting on all special teams. They're not taking you off anything, but your name's not. It's like, what's going on? So I don't know. I never
I
understood that,
never
but
understood it either.
just the thought of not going, it's like,
And it's tough.
I don't know.
It was really tough, and I was
Yeah.
so mad, man. I remember the team got in, and I texted Coach Reinbold. Shout out to Coach Reinbold out there, man. Great coach, great instructor. I texted him saying, what's going on, man? Like you guys brought me all the way out here, and I'm not even traveling on the team. Not only I'm not, of course, I'm not even starting, but I'm not even traveling. This is horrible. This is my junior year. This is when you're supposed to get it in. And so, you go to your senior
Mhm.
year, and obviously the scouts are going to get track scouts your junior year. And so he's like, well, you came late, you have to work yourself in, you have to make some plays. I'm like, damn, man, I'm trying to make plays. But I feel like I'm telling him all the excuses I have. I hate excuses. And I'm telling them excuses I had, how I had to come late, how I don't like the defense you guys are running. So I'm pissed. I'm pissed. And I remember going to, I didn't go to his office. I went to another coaching staff office, and I let him have it. I was cussing. I was pissed. I was angry. I told him, if you guys don't want me here, I'm leaving first thing in the morning. I don't care what kind of class I had. I don't care about my damn scholarship, because all I wanted to do was play football. And so I would never go there not to play football, just to go to school. That's just me. People say you're crazy. You wouldn't live in Hawaii just to go to school. It's like, no, I wouldn't, because of what I had in mind. The sport, the football, the love for football was over that. I wanted to play. This is why I got into the game, because I wanted to play. All the sweat, all the lifting weights, all the sprints, everything we had to do to get to that point, and it's all gonna just disappear. I'm like, I'm not, no, hell no, actually. And so they gave me, multiple, they gave me multiple opportunities. I remember I was just going crazy at practices, trying to beat everybody in conditioning drills. Just everything. If we had to do one-on-ones, I'm just, grabbing receivers, pass interference. I don't give a damn. I'm just trying to get it in. I'm trying to get on the field. And so we had our next trip was San Jose State. And, that was a big trip for me, because that was actually going back to, the Bay Area, where I'm from. I can actually see
Yeah.
my daughter again. And so I look on the list, I'm there. So I'm good. I'm happy, this and that. Then, go out there. We had a good game against San Jose State. I think that was on ESPN. We barely won that game. And ever since then, I've been traveling with the team, but I wasn't starting. They had two good corners already in place. They had the guy, like I said,
Mhm.
Ryan Mouton, come in, and he was switching out with some of the other corners. He was playing a lot of nickel. So he was a really good a nickel back for us. And that year we were, obviously unbelievable. We had top 5 offense in the league. We ended up going to the Sugar Bowl. We got beat by Georgia, unfortunately. After that, senior year comes around, I should say, and not I'm not number 2. I think they had me a number 3 corner, number 3 or number 4 corner, and they had a freshman. I think they had like a sophomore in front of me. I'm just like, man, these dudes are dogging me. And some people don't know about Hawaii, man. I was frustrated most of the time. It wasn't all, bells and whistles. I'm not, just laughing all the time, enjoying the beach and enjoying the atmosphere of Hawaii. I was pissed off most of the time because of
Yeah.
football, and the competition was always fierce, because I always wanted to be the top guy, and I'm always coming after you all the time. And so spring ball comes around. I remember going to spring ball, I dominated, man. I mean, I'm basically reading the offense before they even run. And then, you got the slot receivers doing, whatever they have to do. They're doing the wide receivers on the outside doing all these routes, but I'm just reading the offense. And before they even run the snap, I have an idea what they're going to run. So I basically dominated the spring practice. And they had me at I think they had me number 3 cornerback. So I was the 3rd cornerback going in to the fall. And so we get into the fall. Our first game was
Mhm.
it was you get against Tebow and the Gators. So we go out there, and coach said, this is the package we're putting in first. Well, you're in. So I basically started. I started my first game I ever started was the Gators and Tim Tebow and those boys, man. And they obviously won, but it was a hell of an experience, and it was fun. And that season was just back and forth of playing big time games, and me starting and me playing against the top wide receivers in the nation. And it was just an experience that this is what I wanted. This is what I worked all this time, all this tears, all
Mhm.
the doubts, all the, not thinking I'm going to make it, the, drinking and smoking with the friends and telling them about your problems, and, all the bad advice I got too from different people. And it all comes down to this point, and it was my senior year, and I was just, it was a solid year for me. And, going forward with that, um, I like to say, if you're out there, if you ever have any type of loss in your family, any type of, any side distraction that you had outside, all I want to say is to stay focused And it's kind of, you might say it's easy for me to say that, but I'm really, really talking about you should really stay focused, and you should get to things that you love to do. And if you love to do something, go ahead and do it. And that's the reason why I was able to basically make it at that level. I was always believed in myself, and I never gave up. And so I just want to say
Mhm.
thank you for everybody that was a part of that movement, all the people that came out and supported me, all those games that traveled, all those miles just to see me play. If it's not seeing me play live, it's seeing me, play on TV. Just want to thank everybody out there for, like having an opportunity just to see me like that. And I'm just a walking, almost a walking miracle if you think about it, because I never thought I would be in this position that I was in, and today especially too. Just being alive as a African American man at 33 years of age, it's just you're blessed, you're lucky. So
Yeah,
yeah, man.
that was deep,
Indeed.
man. I was actually gonna hit you with a sound from the soundboard until you said something that I was like, I was about to hit you with the sound effect. I was about to hit you with that.
Right on.
You changed the tune real quick. I was
Yeah.
like,
Right on, right on.
but yeah, well, yeah, I mean, that was pretty in depth, and a lot of people, if you don't know him, you obviously have a good background of what's going on now. You got his
Yeah.
podcast name and a background, so he does a lot of sports talk, things like that, on his podcast. So I want to kind of transition to that,
Yeah.
and I want to ask you kind of what got you into podcasting, because ironically, we started around that same time. I think you might have like a week
Yeah.
on us. I randomly kind of saw you, I think,
Mhm.
post something, and I clicked on it. I was like, yo, we was just talking about the podcast. So it's kind of like, it was crazy how it kind of started for you. And when we get to your side, I'll kind of tell you how it kind of
Mhm.
developed for us. But what kind of got you into
Yeah,
podcasting?
podcasting has been a thing that I've been listening to podcasts probably back in 2012. It's been a minute, and I always like podcasts. I was listening
Mm-hmm.
to the Joe Rogan show, just Stephen A.
Mm-hmm.
Smith out there. I mean, a lot of good guys out there. So I've been listening to podcasts for a long time, and I remember I think it was 2017. I was about to start it, and I didn't have nowhere to start it. That's the reason why I didn't start it soon enough, because I didn't had nowhere to speak, nowhere to talk, know where the podcast
Yeah.
from. So that's some of the reason why I didn't start earlier. But the reason why I wanted to start the podcast is because I want to give back, what I was taught as a kid, and my experience and other athletes experience out there in the world, that what they went through, and what I went through, it's life. And the people, the athletes growing up right now, they're gonna go through the same thing. They're gonna go through life and have losses. You might have a kid at an early age. You might lose a best
Mm-hmm.
friend. You might, your college might not want you after a while. How do you bounce back from that? And so I felt like if I shared my story, along with other athletes, I think people would listen. Athletes would listen, parents would listen. And you know what? It's possible. These guys did it. They went to this level. They got a scholarship. They got the degrees, or if they got the degrees or not, and they were successful
Mm-hmm.
at it. And that was some of the reason why I wanted to start the podcast, to see, to tell people my story. This is how I did it, and it's very possible for pretty much anybody else. If you have the drive, if you have that mindset, if you love that game, you have the opportunity to go ahead and further your career, because it's all about opportunity, and the opportunities you have on social media, how you can promote yourself now. And I wish we had social media like this back when I was playing, because it would have been, ooh, man, on YouTube and the
We say that all
Instagram.
the time.
Oh man, we had MySpace, man. I was like, man, I had MySpace, man. It was just old, man. So
You can still get videos
that's
on
true.
MySpace though. You can still get the video on your
On
page on
MySpace.
MySpace. Like we always
That's
talk
crazy.
about
I
that
haven't
too.
logged
We
in my
like it's
MySpace probably like in 10 years. Um, but yeah, that's some of the reason why I wanted to start a podcast. Is just to give back and have the people out there just to listen
mm,
to what I'm, my life experience, and get other people into sports, man. Because sports has been, the biggest thing, probably, one of the biggest thing in my life. So that's some of the reason why I wanted to start it.
good stuff. Yeah, good stuff. And we talked off a little bit off air about another tactic of that too. Kind of, I asked you kind of why you
Mm,
started, and you said pretty much the same thing. But um, another thing I kind of put into it, and a lot of people
mm,
overlooked it. Look is like trying to give advice without forcing it down your
Yeah.
throat. Because kids nowadays, it's people in general nowadays, it's like if they don't want it,
Yeah.
they don't want it. So you forcing something, they're going to automatically
Yep.
go against that. So it's good that you can
Hmm.
put it out there, and I'm here if you
Yeah.
need me. So that's like a good good way to get into it without kind of forcing forcing on
Definitely,
people.
man. Definitely. Shoot. You got to do something. Like this days and I
Yeah,
mean, I
I
was thinking
mean,
about, man, kids and they don't really a lot of video games, a lot of YouTube, and this is what was taking over the world. And they're not going outside and enjoying the youth. Going outside enjoying, what you have to do. You only do that in school, but when you go home, it's different, these days. So
yeah,
yeah, that's
kids don't have scars anymore.
exactly.
Kids
They
don't get
don't.
bruises anymore. You get a bruise now, and they probably think your
Yeah,
parents
exactly.
beating
They
on
might
you.
they might have to go to the hospital. Might have
Back
to
in
go
the
to
day,
ER. You never know.
exactly. Back in the day, you come back with a bruise, like, boy, what you do? You go to school, they're like, oh, what did you do? Now it's probably like, is
Yeah.
everything okay
Should
at
we call
home?
your parents?
Because nobody does it. Exactly, because nobody goes outside anymore. You got kids out here that don't know how to ride
It's
bikes.
crazy.
That's something that's like
It's
fundamental.
crazy. And it's I'm not
Yeah.
sure whose fault it is, but it's like it's the social media just taking over. It's the technology, I should say. That's who to blame. It's the
Mhm.
technology. The technology has just gotten better. Over the years, technology it keeps getting better and better. They have all these social medias. They have all these opportunities for, the Americans or whoever's out there to go ahead and pay attention to. If you're paying attention to your favorite Netflix show or, just something on YouTube, you're going to be
Mhm.
into that more than you're going to be going outside and, go riding bikes and go playing catch with the neighbor or something like that. So it's all about
Exactly.
technology.
Yeah, with YouTube for us, I mean, only thing I could really remember like YouTube was with YouTube an instrumental so we can
Hmm.
rap over, because everybody wanted to be a
Yep.
rapper at
Yeah,
some
that's
point.
true.
So
That's
you
true.
either looking up instrumentals or you looking at
Hmm.
dances. Like you got me about 4 years, so we still got that
Yeah.
little gap. But for us, it's still like, I mean, I remember seeing people watch videos about crank that like in class,
Right. Yeah, I
like
remember.
like the
Yeah.
Soldier Boy dance. YouTube wasn't like a crazy thing to like it is now, where you have original content. You got everybody who can actually
Hmm.
post. You can make your
Yeah.
own content. Back then, it was just kind of like you didn't know what to do. It was entertaining, but it wasn't something where you start here and then 7 hours later you're like,
Yeah.
oh, where did they
Yeah.
go? You had cat videos and dance
I
videos back
remember.
then.
I
That was about
remember,
it.
man. Those are good
And
times.
highlight tapes. That was yeah, and highlight tapes, because I remember that's when West Virginia was on their thing with Noah
Yep.
Devon and all
Hmm.
them boys. I remember watching their highlight tapes, and I'm like in high school, like that's crazy. Like that
Yep.
boy's crazy. Not realizing like these dudes like all like barely bigger than me, but he's super fast.
Yeah,
So it, that was like the big difference from
for
now and
sure.
then. Now you just kind of enamored with technology all around. You got little kids. Like my nephew is 4. Uh, Before he can string a sentence together, he was like
Hmm.
on a tablet controlling the TV. So it's crazy because you're born into it. Like we were kind of
Yeah,
born into it, but it wasn't as advanced as it is now, like you
definitely,
said.
man. Definitely. Times is changing, bro. Times is
But yeah,
changing all the time.
yeah, crazy
It
world.
is.
So we gotta move a little bit on to the
Cool.
sports talk. I know y'all didn't just tune in just to hear us talk, about each other.
Both Calvins.
So uh yeah, exactly. Calvin Roberts talking to Calvin Roberts, Twilight Zone type stuff, right?
People's not gonna believe it. They're gonna like, no way.
But
His is name is not Calvin. There's no way.
yeah, somebody's gonna be like, nah, you faking.
You get them all the time.
Is your troll finish? You play
Yeah.
too much, boy. everybody always think I got a joke. So sometimes when I'm serious, this is actually real, y'all. But so we can move on real quick, talk about a little sports, so you've been keeping up with like the NBA right now, or well, actually, before we get to NBA, did you watch the game last night?
Yes, the NCAA championship. I did watch that. That was a hell of a game.
Yeah, it was the opposite of what I thought it was gonna be.
Yes, a
You
lot of
know,
people think it
so
was gonna be just a defensive game. I thought teams gonna come out firing. I mean, it's the last game, championship game. You throw some threes and go to the lane, get some fouls. But it was overall, it was good. I think Texas Tech they fought back, and when they fought back and they were making those threes and they pushed it to overtime. I think the execution on defense, the miscommunication, the not paying attention to certain plays, back cuts, that's what got them the loss. I think if they would have stayed at course, they would have ran their plays. They would have played lockdown defense. I think they should have won that game. I thought Texas Tech should have won that game for
Yeah, it
me.
was a little chippy at the end, a little scary. But I mean, I'm coming from a biased standpoint, obviously. Um,
Virginia,
I'm
yeah.
not a UVA fan. Yeah, I'm not a UVA fan, but you support your state when it comes down to it. But actually, ironically, most people from this area, like I'm in the 757. Well, my listeners know that, but
Mhm,
you know, your listeners, if they cross over, that's pretty much the Tidewater area. You got Allen Iverson, Mike Vick, Tyrod Taylor,
mhm.
Cam Chancellor, just a hotbed of athletes, right?
They do.
Ironically, most of the fan base around here are like Carolina or Duke fans. It's like you would think,
Wow,
okay,
I
you got
can
two state schools,
mhm.
you're gonna like your state schools. Most people don't in the area that they really, really don't like the state schools. We're like, when it comes to football, right?
Yeah,
So, you got the levels of Division One, Division Two, all those things. Just in our area alone, we have three Division One schools within 30 minutes of each other.
that's
So it's kind
crazy.
of like if you're not in a crazy, if you're not like right by UVA or Virginia Tech,
Mhm,
or if you're not like really, really, really like into those schools because of your family, you're probably going to either not care
mhm.
or you're going to be more in tune to go to, okay, I'm going to watch, I'm a fan of Hampton, I'm a fan of HU, or I'm a fan of Norfolk State, I'm a fan of ODU. So you're going to kind of be wherever your team is. We got William and Mary,
Yeah,
we got JMU. We got a lot of schools that play actual D1 football.
mhm.
So it's kind of like we have a lot of diversity where a lot of states can't say that.
Yeah,
Where it's literally you got that one team or you got those three teams, and based off how close you are,
that's
those are your
true.
squads. So it's kind of like we have that crazy thing. So a lot of people aren't really UVA fans, and we're out there saying, okay, well, congratulations, but I'm still not a fan. So
Exactly.
ironically, my cousins, both of my two of my closest cousins, they're UVA fans. So of course it's their first win. So I'm trolling them all the time.
Man, yeah,
One was
their
actually just
first
on
win,
Instagram
that's right.
stories
That's right, their first
going in
championship.
like, yeah, he was going in. He was like, all right, get off the court, Texas Tech. Y'all just lost. Why y'all here? Bye. Bye. Get out of here. He's just talking trash. So of course, me being the troll I am, I just kind of put the Tar Heel in his Tar Heel emoji in his in his message.
Yeah.
But yeah, I root for the ACC. Anybody but Duke, that's pretty much my motto.
Can't
We
stand
win
Duke.
anybody but Duke.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm
Duke is just
a North Carolina guy. Ever since I was growing up,
yeah.
I like North Carolina. I seen that baby blue. I seen
Mhm.
Vince Carter dunk, and I seen Anton Jamerson, all those boys, and those those are the teams, and that's why I fell in love with the college basketball is because of Carolina, Carolina
Yeah.
blue, and you go over to the Duke. They got the royal blue, but
Mhm.
I didn't like Duke. I mean, they got Coach K over there, a perfect coach over there. I mean, the way they did things at Duke,
Everything was
I
so
didn't
perfect,
it
right?
was perfect, and I didn't like that. I don't like that. I don't like that. That's movie. That's a movie right there. So that's the reason why I fell in love with especially with college basketball. Of course, North Carolina. And going back to that game was it was an interesting game. I thought obviously Virginia was going to be the favorite, but I thought Texas Tech was going to win that game, and it kind of bothers me a little bit because I was watching the game and they were shooting themselves in the foot. Man,
I
mm-mm-mm.
mean, at the end of the day, it's all about pressure. Like UVA has been in this situation. Well, not this exact situation, but they've been in high pressure
They
games more than
have,
Texas Tech has.
they have.
So it's kind of like, they probably were a little bit more ready for it.
Mhm.
I honestly thought coming into it, it was going to be all right. You got UVA running the zone all day. You got Texas Tech, who's going to have one man pretty much full court press.
Yeah.
I thought it was going to be like maybe 50-47. Like I wasn't even being dramatic when I say that. Like I
Yeah.
really thought it was gonna be a low scoring game.
Mhm. A lot of people
And
did.
up until about, yeah, it was like 8 minutes into the first half, it was like 17-6. Then
It
you
was
look up
crazy.
and it's like, yeah, then you look up, it's like, oh shoot, they're actually scoring. So,
Yeah,
there's a lot of clutch basketball going on the UVA side of things. But,
definitely.
you know, it was a good way to close the season out because
Mhm.
start the season off, you just knew Duke and Zion was gonna win.
Yeah.
But when the tournament started, you saw how they were barely winning every game. Well, it even started before the tournament.
Mhm.
They were just barely winning games, and it's like you should be blowing these teams out the water if
Yeah.
you are who you say you are.
Exactly.
And it's I'm glad UVA won. We got one here finally. But outside of that, you been keeping up with the NBA?
Definitely, man. Always keeping up with the NBA. That's probably I don't know, NBA, NFL. I'm not sure which one's my favorite one to follow, but it's up there. I'm always keeping track with the NBA.
Yeah, yeah. As far as for that, it's kind of crazy in the East right now. Just kind of looking at it right now as far as like the projections of the playoff.
Yeah, it's coming up close.
We still, yeah, stop fighting for the eighth seed.
Mhm.
Whoever gets it, going to get Milwaukee though. So
How do you feel like what do you feel like Milwaukee? I feel like for Milwaukee, I believe that they can win a series. I'm not sure they can get out of the East. That's my biggest thing. And I
mm,
think that the best player in the East is the Greek freak. I believe he's
yeah,
the best player in the East, but I'm not sure they can get out of the East. And just to go ahead and move forward, I'm not sure what you wanted to talk about with the NBA, but the playoff picture. Um, I believe that the Boston Celtics is still the number one team. If I had to pick a team, if my life depending on it, it's hard not to choose the Celtics. I would lean towards Toronto. I think Toronto and the Celtics are the two top teams. I believe in Philly, but I think that Ben Simmons not having a jump
mm.
shot is going to affect that. It's going to affect it because you can
yeah,
the thing is you can live with that during the regular season. You can go ahead and win, a certain amount of games. But when it goes to the playoffs, teams are going to go ahead and gear. They're going to go ahead and scout. They're going to go ahead and scheme on the defensive side of the ball for you to basically you're going to show your weakness in the playoffs. And if
they're
he's
going to
not,
put the ball in Ben Simmons' hands.
what was that?
That's what's going to happen. I said they're going to put the ball in Ben Simmons' hands. That's what's
Definitely.
going to happen.
He
Like
he's
teams are
great.
going to
Yeah, he's a great
teams are
player.
going to force. They're going to force him to shoot. They're going to pull up.
Mhm.
They're going to defend him like Draymond. They're going to stand about 4 or 5 feet away,
Mhm.
like go ahead and shoot.
Let him
So
shoot.
they're gonna. He's a point guard, so he has to have the ball in his hand. So they're
Yeah.
gonna really make him try to,
It's
try to win a
it's
game. But
weird. It's you know how weird it is because I thought that over the summer he's gonna improve. Like he might go get out there, start shooting 17 footers and trying to knock down 17 footer. Then he might move back to 20 feet. Then he might move out to the
yeah,
24. But there's no improvement on his jump shot, which is crazy to me. Because you
yeah,
need a jump shot as a point guard in the NBA. You need some type of Jimmy. You do. You actually
yeah,
need it. And for him to not to go ahead and improve on that stage of his game is really concerning to me. If I was a Philly fan, if I was, a part of the 76 organization, that would concern me because you have such a talented team out there. I mean, Embiid is probably what I think he's probably the best big man in the NBA. And you have all these pieces around them that you guys look like a championship team, but one of your best players in Ben Simmons cannot shoot a jump shot. And if it was me, if I didn't have a jump shot, and they were defending me like that, they're sagging off, I wouldn't really shoot the jump shot. I would just drive into the lane. I would force action. I would force my way to the free
yeah.
throw line. And that's another thing I think he doesn't have confidence in is his free throws. If you can't shoot
Anything
free throws now,
shooting,
you gotta forget about it.
anything shooting is not in Ben Simmons' arsenal right now.
It's not.
Like I want to throw the Kardashian joke out there, but
Oh
this has been
man.
before them. But he couldn't shoot before them, so I can't even blame them. But honestly, like since we're talking about Philly, like Philly is to me like the team that I can see coming out, but I don't see them beating anybody out the West.
Yeah.
But honestly though, basketball mind, even though coaches are stubborn, they know they should do certain things, but they're kind of stubborn because they're stuck in their ways.
Mhm.
I would honestly say, if it comes down to it, I would probably put the ball in JJ Redick's hand and
Yeah.
let Ben Simmons play off the ball because he can shoot.
Mhm.
I don't think they've done that all year.
They
I would kind of
yeah, they I don't
let
think they're gonna do that because JJ is more of a come off the screen guy. He likes to move around a lot. Him with the ball is not too I've seen him with the ball a couple times, is not too bad. But the guy I think that they need to give the ball to and put maybe Ben Simmons on the bench is gonna be Jimmy Butler. Jimmy But
I'm not a
I think
fan of
he's the
Butler.
guy that's gonna take us. He's the closer for that team. He's the guy they're gonna depend
Mhm.
on to get that last shot. They get that one shot they need to go up or to get back into the game. I would give it to Jimmy. I wouldn't trust Ben Simmons. I can't trust him. And he as a track record and what he's done in the past, I wouldn't be able to trust that dude. I have trust in Jimmy Butler getting the job done alongside with Embiid, those two guys,
Yeah.
rather than Ben Simmons. That's just me.
Now, when I say give the ball to him, I don't mean like in the clutch time. I mean throughout the game. Like if you're playing a series where you know they're going to key off on Ben Simmons,
Uh,
you can
gotcha.
put
Yeah.
the ball in his hand to bring it up,
Yeah.
make whatever. You can still have Simmons on the court,
Mhm.
You can run some screens, give him the ball,
Mhm.
but as far as like that primary ball handler, when it comes down to it, I would probably say give that to JJ. The reason why
Mhm.
I hate Duke and everything, but the
Ugh.
reason why is once again that even though he doesn't get his own shot,
Mhm.
it's still a threat that he can make a shot.
Oh, yeah.
Whereas with Ben Simmons, it's kind of like, I mean, he's going to get a nice pass or maybe dunk.
Yeah.
That's about it. He's pretty limited when it comes to like basketball, ironically for NBA players. But
That's
we'll
true.
see though. It's going to be pretty interesting when it comes out.
I think it's gonna
As
be
far as like,
interesting, man. And another thing I was gonna get into, I think that Ben Simmons should be posting up a lot more, and I think they should run their offense
use the
through.
size.
Yeah, they should run their offense through Embiid and Simmons. If Simmons is on the block versus a 6'2" point guard, I mean that's an advantage Simmons. And if he worked enough on his low post game, he would be a dominant force. And most likely you're gonna have to use a power forward or a small forward to defend him because he's too big. He's what 6'10",
Yep.
6'10" point
I
guard.
think it's like 6'9", like 6'9".
That's crazy.
He might be like 6'9", but he's still big.
That's a
Like
big
he's
dude.
still bigger than everybody he's playing against.
Everybody, man. So that's what I would do.
Which comes back to
Mhm.
which comes back to if he can shoot. If he's 6'10" and he could actually shoot,
Oh,
come on, that's like
oh.
KD at point guard.
It's gonna be nasty, and he already has
But
handles. He already has the IQ, which is crazy. The only thing that missing in this game is gonna be his jump shot, which is, I think, is crazy because all your life as a basketball player, you're shooting,
mhm,
you're dribbling, but the main thing is that you're shooting, and if you're not getting better at shooting, and you're at the professional level, who are you getting help from? Who's helping you? That's a concern for me. Honestly, it's a deep concern because if they don't come out of the East this year, what are you going to do next year? Are you going to
it's like
resign
New
some of
York
these
gets
guys?
everybody they
It's going to be crazy. Now,
yeah,
Philly, if I was a Philly fan, I'll be concerned. I'll be excited, but I'll be concerned because if Ben Simmons is not the guy that you think he is, what do you do? Would you want to go ahead and trade him to get some pieces back? He likes LA. I'm just throwing stuff out there, man. He likes LA.
you try to recruit him,
If you
man. You
if
try to
you
recruit him right now.
if you can put a package in to give Philly a top 10 pick, which the Lakers most likely going to have, with other players like Ingram, they have Kuzma, they have all these young
Angel
guys.
gotta go.
If you can put a package in to send him away, and you can send him to LA to play with Braun, I think it changes a little bit. But I also think they need a lot more help than that. Just keeping it real.
Yeah, you trying to have the Lakers the whole clutch sports.
Yeah.
AD might as well throw Draymond in
I
there.
might as well
But
throw. I don't think my idea. I don't think Draymond. I don't think I really think this. I think Draymond is going to end his career somewhere else. That's what I really think.
oh, I know that's coming. Like it's
If you can
just
see it, you can
yeah,
see it.
he's the odd man out. It's
It
like
sucks. Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
you you're like a system player, right?
Hmm.
Everyone sees it. Like I don't know if you saw it, but they put the most overrated and underrated list
Oh,
out
they
as
had
far as NBA
Draymond and
players voted
who
on
they
it.
have up there too. They had
Draymond and Russ
Oh
was tied at one.
man.
They tripping on the Russ. They probably just don't like him as a person.
They are chipping on Russ because I think Russ
Yeah,
is still. I can't say top 5. He's a top 10 player. Russ is a
yeah.
top 10 player. I think that James Harden moved above Russ this year. I would give James Harden the nod. And it's really hard for me because you got to think about the system James Harden plays in. It's a system dedicated to him. It's dedicated to the point guard
Yeah,
bringing up. You look at guys like Steve Nash. I'm still
I
pissed
was just
off.
gonna say
I'm
that
still pissed off. Steve Nash won 2 MVPs and Kobe only got one.
over Shaq.
That's just
And then Shaq should have won one of those.
man. Somebody. I mean,
Shaq should have
come
won one
on,
of those MVPs that year.
right?
No, Shaq statistically had a better year that year. I was like,
They gave it to
but I mean,
Steve.
hey,
They gave it to Steve because of his team and what he was doing with the Suns. They never went
yeah,
anywhere, but what he was doing for that team, it was just like James Harden. But James Harden is a better version because he's bigger, he's stronger. He drives to the rim a lot better than Steve Nash, especially the finish wise. But it's very similar than Mike D'Antoni's system and what they have in James Harden. Because if James Harden was to go into another team and if it was more structured and if it was more people getting involved, he would not put up those numbers. I'm sorry to say he wouldn't put up those numbers at all.
yeah. I used to call that the sunning gun back in the day when I used to like
Yeah.
2K9, like 2K on
2K9,
2K9.
yeah.
Boy, I used to kill people with the Suns. Man, I used to have Shaq out there shooting threes, man. Just
Shaq
I
shooting
was just that
threes.
crazy with it, man. Shaq on the corner,
Mhm.
leave him open. Go ahead. I'm
That's
shooting. I'm shooting. I don't
I
care.
feel
I'm
you.
just pulling with
Yeah,
everybody.
that's how you do
But
it.
yeah, I mean that system works, but it's not for
It's not in the
everyone. But it just
playoffs.
kind of works out with James
It
Garden.
can't
Yeah,
work in the
you just
playoffs.
got to play deep.
Yeah, it almost worked last year because Golden State was slipping. It almost worked last year, and the Chris Paul injury was crucial for the Rockets. And if there was ever a time
Yeah,
to go ahead and get the Warriors, it was definitely last year. And they didn't get the job done. The Warriors went ahead, and it was history, man.
yeah. I was a Warriors fan that whole series. I almost bought a jersey. I really can't
If you would
say
have bought a
this.
Golden State jersey, I would have loved to see that. That would have been it.
Oh no, I almost bought a Rockets jersey. You would never see me in
Oh
Golden State, man.
man.
Like it's only a couple teams that I would bet to wear their gear,
Mhm.
and it's like because I just hate them so
Yeah,
much. Golden State, I know they're going to pass. It's like it's NBA, so it's going to be a thing where they're not going to be always here.
yeah,
Anytime I bet somebody, I don't know why they never go through with it. Anytime I bet somebody when Duke or Carolina plays,
yeah.
I'm like, yeah, I wear Duke, whatever. They never bet it. I'm like, why not? You got to wear my Carolina stuff. I got to wear your Duke stuff if you lose. I would bet wearing Duke gear.
Mhm.
I would never wear New England gear. I would never,
Oh, no.
stoop to that level.
I will never wear yeah, New England, number
I will
1. I will
wear,
never wear a Patriots, jersey.
yeah.
I will never wear a Celtics jersey. I will never wear a Cowboys jersey. I will never wear a LA
Oh, I would
Dodgers
never.
jersey. Those are the teams I just
I would, like, I would even wear. I would wear a Lakers jersey, specifically a Kobe jersey, depending on the bet.
yeah.
And that's just because how I put that energy out for so many years about these two things, the Lakers and Kobe
Remember the
and
arguments
Duke.
we used to
It's like,
have? We used to have arguments on Facebook about
yeah,
LeBron versus Kobe, about the Lakers and Cavs and the finals. Oh,
yeah,
man, going back and forth with that. I remember. I remember those days.
man. I was hurt when LeBron went to Lakers, man. I'm like, dang,
It's a cold world,
I can't even
man.
ride with you no more, man.
It's you know what? It didn't surprise me. It didn't really surprise me because I
Yeah,
knew in the back I knew in the back of his head, the best opportunity for him to have for him to go with his career to move forward, especially in the the Hollywood, the movie aspects and everything like that was to go
mhm,
to LA. And it was all written all over him. He wouldn't never stay in Cleveland. And if he wanted, opportunities to do movies and, commercials and, different things like that, it
yeah.
wasn't Cleveland. It was maybe Miami. That's what I think he should have stayed. I'm one of those people that thinks that he should have stayed in Miami. And if he would have stayed in Miami, I think he probably maybe with four rings right now, maybe.
Well, with that, a lot came out recently with Dwayne Wade talking about he was considering retiring and everything, but at that point, so I think part of that was D Wade's health.
Hmm.
He didn't really know if D Wade had it anymore. So I mean, when you think about the teams where LeBron actually won
Hmm.
on, those are teams that work for LeBron.
Basically.
You got shooters and you got a big man that can play defense, right?
Yeah.
And when it comes down to it, if you look at that Miami team, a lot of those players were older.
Yeah.
So you're not gonna have Mike Miller next year. Ray Allen probably won't go be there in that next year. So I think he probably looked a little bit more into the future because what LeBron does, he signs those 3-year contracts with a 4th-year option.
Mhm.
So, and they said it even going back to like I think like their first wave of contracts with Carmelo and Chris Paul and Wade, like they all kind of do their schedules around that same time, except for Melo because he wanted to get that
Yeah.
money, so they can try to eventually play with each other. So, and I think that was a big part of it too. Like I think the fear of Dwayne Wade's health,
Hmm.
and then also that team getting older.
That's a
So
lot
I
of yeah,
mean, with
that's a
Cleveland,
lot of fear, man, and especially with something like me,
yeah,
I would probably wanna play with, maybe a friend, not with a couple friends, and
yeah,
especially build a team like that. I'm old school. I would
they
like to
wanted all
destroy
4 of them.
right? I would like to destroy my
Yeah, they
friends, and
want.
if I'm in competition and I'm playing on this team, you're playing on that team, I'm not gonna be really cool with you like that during the season, you know? I'm not gonna be dabbing you up,
Yeah,
spending time with each other and stuff. I'm old school. I wanna bury you to the ground. That's the mindset I think that's the mindset I think that LeBron and the Kobe's and the Jordans, the way they approach the game, I think that's the difference.
mhm,
And I think that difference is the reason why I put those players over LeBron is because it is a mind game, and I'd rather have somebody out there that is going to go out there and try to kill you and try to bury you into the ground, rather than somebody that he is thinking about what he's going to do after the game, or if he's going to, how he's going to feel if, if they're playing against each other. If somebody gets a hard foul, are you going to look at him a certain way? Are you still going to be cool with him
Yeah,
after the game? I mean, you know what I'm saying? So those the mindset
yeah,
of those two players, of Kobe and Jordan, I would always put them over LeBron, is because of their mind. LeBron is more talented. Don't get me wrong. He's more talented. He does things that nobody's ever seen as a whole. The most talented player to ever play in the NBA is LeBron James. He's the most talented player, but that doesn't make him the best player, because with that talent, you do
yeah,
need that certain mindset. And to be a champion consistently over and over and over again, you have to have that fear. You have to put fear in the players' eyes. And that's what Kobe and Jordan did.
yeah,
And I think LeBron, he doesn't necessarily do that. Maybe because it's a day and age we live, but I don't think he does that, especially not anymore. They don't fear LeBron. And if they ever did fear him, maybe
yeah.
it was maybe 1 year he went to Miami, 2 years, but it was no fear. Teams are going there and try to win. And they did not fear LeBron. People feared Kobe and Shaq. People feared, Jordan and Pippen. They feared guys like that. But LeBron, I don't think the fear is not really there, I should say.
I think it's a lot of more so personality based. Not skill wise, it's more so personality. Like when you think
Mhm.
about them off the court,
Mhm.
LeBron likes to be liked.
He
He even
does.
said when he went to Miami and he tried to do the villain thing and they lost to the Mavericks, he wasn't happy that season, right?
Yeah.
He doesn't like being a villain. He's just like a fun loving, he's not that intense when it comes to outside of the sport. But when you see Kobe, like Kobe was kind of like I forgot what I was watching, but they was talking about like similar situation we're having right now, or similar
Mhm.
talk. They were talking about Kobe and how Kobe was like a loner in a sense.
Mhm.
One, he came in, he was 18.
Yeah.
He couldn't go out. Him and Derek Fisher were the closest in age, but
Yeah.
couldn't go out with the team. Couldn't go to the bar, none of that stuff that they would do after the game. So he's pretty much alone most of the time because he's like the young boy in the squad.
Mhm.
And then you got to think about him how he also treated like the young folks when he was old. When he was older,
Yeah.
it was more so that really intense, like rubs you the wrong way
Yeah.
personality wise. We've all heard about Jordan out here breaking noses in practice.
Oh,
So it's just like that intensity level where you got LeBron, who's just like a big goofball, and you got Jordan and Kobe, who are more really like intense about the thing. So, and I think that's where it comes from, where LeBron will be more prone to, try to be your friend off the court.
mhm.
So you're more prone to say, oh, that's just Brian. Or okay, I know after this game it's not even gonna be that deep. Like to
Yeah.
this day, I don't understand how him and Draymond can even work together in the sense of we all know, clutch sports is LeBron thing, even though
Yeah,
we can't
exactly.
we can't
Yeah.
say it. But I don't see how he can work with him. I don't see how he's on the shows just by how they're going on the court. For me, the disrespect that Draymond showed, I'm holding that. Like until we
Yeah.
retire, I'm holding that. Every time we play, I'm coming at you.
Yeah.
But that's not his personality.
It's
So I mean,
not, and I don't like that, man. It makes me mad because you have you have all the ability, and it goes back to I think I was watching Speak for Yourself. I was watching either Speak for Yourself, or it was one of them on Fox Sports, and they were saying that LeBron James' personality goes back to what he grew up. He grew up in a single family home. His mom, worked two jobs. He didn't have a father figure around him that made him
mhm,
hang around with more kids. He was obviously liked as a kid. He had lots of friends. Everybody liked him. And that's how he approached. I think that his approach to the game is similar to that. He wants people, he cares what people think. You go back to Kobe and you go guys like this, these guys with how they grew up, Kobe's dad playing in the NBA, playing overseas. He saw
yeah,
what it was like. He saw all these things, Steph Curry, Klay Thompson. They had all this help. With LeBron, it was
yeah,
different. He had to obviously work for everything he had for it. Don't let me say all those other guys worked for they had to get at, but
different
LeBron,
levels though.
it was different levels.
It's a different level.
Different level.
Yeah,
LeBron had to work for everything he got for it, but he was the only child, a only
yeah,
child with one single mom. You're gonna get, I mean, the mindset you have is to have more friends. You don't have any brothers and sisters. You don't have a dad to go ahead and talk to. You might have your coach, but that's not your dad. You know what I'm saying? As a kid, as a little kid, you want to have that father influence. You want to have lots of friends. That's why I think his personality is who he is today. He is a family
yeah.
man. He is well liked in the the community with his friends, his boys, and things like that. But on the basketball court, being the actual killer, not giving a damn what your friends think, not giving a damn what everybody else thinks, I think he falls short to that. And that's why I
Yeah.
think the mindset of the Kobe's and the Bronze and the Jordan is just different. And that's how they split ways. I think that's the main thing that I look about. If I ever compared them, I think it's all about the mindset of those two players compared with LeBron.
Yeah, it's just one of those things where a little bit too deep in the career to change anything now. Because if you try to
These two, oh,
change it up now, I mean, you're old now.
nah, you can't. Yeah, you can't
unless
just.
you come back 280 and you still running fast, yeah,
It's
nah, it's
not
not
gonna
gonna work.
happen.
But
It's
I mean,
scary, man. The Lakers they're in a sticky situation because if they don't get a free agent, if they don't get a draft pick that that plans out, they're in trouble. And I heard
yeah,
rumors about you can trade LeBron if they really wanted to next year, or it actually was this year, but you kind of stuck with him in a way because nobody wants to play. It seems like with this dude besides what
yeah,
AD. They couldn't get AD. Looks like Kawhi doesn't really want to play. I mean, yeah, maybe Kyrie, but those are long shots. I mean, if
and
you don't get a player in LA this year, I mean, what's LeBron's legacy going to look like? And for me, I think his legacy is diminishing. I think people say, yeah, his
yeah,
legacy's already set. No, I don't think so. I think his legacy is going to diminish if he doesn't pull out a championship. If he doesn't make the playoffs, oh,
yeah.
he don't ever mention the GOAT or anything compared with Jordan, or he's a top three player. I think he moves down the list. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, and we'll get in depth on that on your side as far as for that. So we can move along a little bit here because we are a sports and music type of podcast here.
Yeah.
So as far as for that, what type of music do you listen to?
Man, I'm right now, I listen to a lot of podcasts. I barely even listen to music, but when I do listen to music, I'm listening to, I can't say R&B. I listen to old school. So if I'm out there, I'm listening to, 90s hip hop, 2000s hip hop, listen to some Bay Area tracks, man. I'm listening to old stuff. If I turn in some new stuff, you know, I guess obviously hip hop, but at the same time, it's
Yeah,
all old school for me. It's all, old school classic jams in the 90s,
got you.
2000s. It's pretty much the same thing, Bay Area music. That's pretty much it. But music wise, man, today's music, I think is a lot of it's a little trash to me on the hip hop side.
Yeah, I'm the same with you here. We talk about music all the time, so I don't even have to go into what I like as far as for that for my listeners. But yeah, as far as for that, I know you're in Cali and everything. Happened to Nipsey a couple days ago.
Mm.
So what's your take on that as far as for the impact and just how things are right now?
The impact he had on the whole LA, I should say LA City, was, it's you can't duplicate that. He was the type of dude that would go into the hood with chains on and wouldn't give a damn about what's going to happen. And he would go anywhere in LA and he was well respected. I'm not gonna get into what really, what I think would happen. But I think that as a whole, Nipsey, I mean, he changed the game so much that it's gonna have an effect on, I guess, future rappers, future artists growing up either in Cali, LA, or across the US. It's almost, I compare it to, I'm not sure you know him, but it's an artist named Mac Dre. Mac Dre was he was killed, and Mac Dre, basically, he was Bay Area. If you go, to Google or you look up Bay Area hyphy movement, Mac Dre, he was the godfather. He was the one that put everything on the stage for, people like, E40 already had his foot in the game already, but he
Yeah,
put other rappers on top. His death, it was more celebrated that he was more celebrated dead than when he was even alive. And I think that Nipsey is going to have the same effect. He's going to be more celebrated for him being dead rather than him alive. He's well respected. He's going to be respected. He's a legend, going forward. But him dying is going to make a push. He's going to change a lot of people, a lot of artists is going forward. He's going to bring a lot of opportunity to most artists is growing up. to have a better opportunity because they know, what Nipsey stood for, and they're gonna,
Yeah.
pretty much do the same thing. And I think that it's gonna be a positive thing. I think that his passing is, obviously nobody wants nobody to pass away, especially, Nipsey, a legend like that. When his passing is gonna only help other individuals going forward, I believe.
Yeah, and it's when you talk about kind of impact wise, right?
Hmm.
So it's cool that we got the dynamic of East Coast and West Coast, right?
Hmm.
So for East Coast, if you're really not in the rap, you really didn't know about Nipsey until recently. So
Wow.
maybe like if you really want into rap, Victory
Wow.
Lap maybe just because of all the press, right?
Yeah.
Before that, you knew about him on YG songs, right?
Hmm.
And that's just because the difference in what you're into, what you're not into, and how it reaches you, right?
Yeah.
But like me, honestly, I didn't really listen to him until like Victory Lap was the first project I listened to all the way through.
Hmm.
Other than that, I'll hear him on like YG stuff, and I'm like, all right, cool, right?
Yeah.
Now, but when you talk about looking up things, because I always heard about him because I watch a lot of hip hop stuff on YouTube.
Hmm.
Kind of what we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
Watch a lot of hip hop stuff. Everybody always mentioned Nipsey Hussle. So I'm looking up, and the first time I really heard about him was he sold that mixtape for $100. And I'm a big Jay Z fan,
Hmm.
and Jay Z bought like 1,000 copies of it.
Hmm.
Right now, when we talked about earlier, kind of about the reason why you got in the podcast, like you want to inform people, right?
Hmm.
This is a perfect example of what you were talking about. His impact.
Yeah.
His impact is kind of similar to what Jay Z's always been talking about. Jay Z, a lot of people don't really realize that Jay Z's always been talking about empowerment. It just was kind of under all that money cash holes.
Yeah.
It was kind of all under that.
That's what it seems
But
like.
he always talked about, if you listen to his actual albums, he always talked about black empowerment, owning your stuff. He actually showed it too. A lot of, own like the whole thing with Cristal.
Yeah.
When it came out, they was racist. They started their own liquor and all that stuff like that.
Hmm.
So he's always been about it. But you got to think about Jay Z as like a elder statesman. He's up there, right?
Hmm.
So when he's telling you own your masters, do this, do that, it's like, come on, man, like stop talking down to me,
Yeah.
right? Because you feel like he's talking down, he's preaching. Whereas with Nipsey, he's still relatively young in the game.
Oh yeah.
When he's telling you, yeah, ownership is really important, it's a little bit different
Hmm.
because it's like, all right, I don't really know this guy, but he's preaching something, right? He's talking about like the ownership and things like that. So it kind of comes back to what you're saying about your message and how I kind of counter that, like, well, not counter, but kind of piggyback saying
Yeah.
like it depends on if somebody wants to hear it or not.
Yeah. That's true.
Because I can tell you right now, Jay Z is my favorite rapper of all time, but 444 is a drag for me. Like
Mm.
I don't want to hear that from you just because I know you from all the other 12 albums,
Yeah.
right?
Hmm.
And that's just like my take on 444, like it or not, listeners. It's just I don't want to hear that from you. I understand the message, I respect it, but I don't want to hear that from you because my mind of Jay-Z is something different.
Yeah.
I understand growth and everything, but not knowing Nipsey, me hearing him say it, it's a little bit different. It's more so, yeah, I mean, it really is important.
Yeah.
Another guy, Joe Budden,
Mm.
really abrasive, right?
Yep.
And he's been saying the same thing for a while too. Like, own your stuff. You need to be owning your stuff. That's where everybody messed up. I made this mistake. Don't make this mistake. So it's kind of like he will have that impact more so like everything he said he was going to do,
Hmm.
he actually started that process.
Yeah.
Like he actually owns his stuff. He actually started businesses in the hood and things like that.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that happens. But you'll feel more impact on your side than we would over here, of course,
Yeah. Mm.
because it's more so of a Cali thing that's going
I
on.
think
But
it is too,
you know,
man. That's what I was thinking
yeah,
too. It's more of a Cali thing. It's more. I mean, if you were a fan of Nipsey, if you listen to the mixtapes and in the beginning of his career, you can definitely relate. I got into Nipsey only about maybe 3 years ago, so
yeah,
I'm a little new. I'm got a couple of his albums, but at the same time, I was a little new to him too as well. I'm usually supporting Bay Area rappers, especially the ones I'm close to. But
yeah,
for somebody to come out of LA, I support, YG, Nipsey, I've been supported the game. But yeah,
yeah,
definitely, man. It's just where you're from. You're from the East, you can have a certain way, a certain mindset. So it's just interesting overall how everything is happening after his death, and you got guys out there acting a fool about trying to get with his girl, and you get it's just
Kodak.
it's crazy, man. I'm like, come on, man, like really?
I got a whole different take on that one, but we
Yeah,
actually supposed to talk
I
about that one
definitely
on the
do too. I
regular.
think it's more to
Yeah,
that as well, but
yeah.
yeah, man.
Yeah,
It's
we're gonna talk about that on the podcast. I think we're gonna release this after the fact, but yeah, you will hear that if you a faithful listener. You'll hear my take on that before you will hear this podcast.
definitely.
But yeah, as far as for that, man, good having you on. Gonna wrap it up a little bit here. We are running, pretty long on this one here.
Yeah.
So want to thank you for coming on, man. Anytime you want to join, just let me know. I'll run it past the boys, see if we can get anything correlated with you.
Yeah, man.
Um,
Right on.
so for my listeners, this was Calvin Roberts from the Competitive 24 podcast. And we're going to be doing a second interview
Yeah.
where I'm going to be the guest. And if you want to go ahead and listen to that, definitely go ahead and where is your podcast so you can let everybody know. I don't want to advertise your stuff for you. So
Definitely, man. You can find me on iTunes. You just type in Competitive 24, it should pop up. You can catch me on Instagram at Competitive 24 Podcast. You can catch me on Twitter at C24 Podcast. I have a couple things that's coming out with Competitive 24 as a whole, being a platform. So I'm getting into that. That's coming pretty soon. It's not really complete yet, so I guess be in tune for that. If you guys have any questions, let me know. This is Competitive 24. I got, lots of comments and things that, debates and things like that. So if you have anything out there you want to get debated, just let me know, man. And Calvin Roberts, thank you for having me on your show. And I much appreciate it, my brother, man. Appreciate that.
no problem, man.